Hey, what's up, VC? It's Steve again, Harmless Rebel, and it's time for another heavy metal and hard rock update. First and foremost, happy Halloween to everybody. I hope you guys have a good and safe night tonight, and that's pretty much it. Let's jump into it. First and foremost, first up in the background, we're listening to Lonestar. This is their album, Firing on All Six. I know it's kind of hard to read there. Really hard to see that sleeve there, but this is from 1977. They're a good mix of hard rock and progressive rock. Really cool band. Lonestar had Tonka Chapman, who took over for Michael Schenker in UFO. I think he did 3 or 4 albums with him. Just a really good album. Definitely worth checking out if you haven't heard it. Again, that's Lonestar. And then let's jump into the main albums. The first album I'm going to show isn't really generally considered hard rock, and it's definitely not heavy metal, but it's definitely very influential in the heavy metal scene and the punk scene. I picked this up the other day. This is New York Dolls, In Too Much, In Too Soon. This is the red vinyl edition. The main reason I showed it with this update is just the influence that they had on hard rock and heavy metal. I mean, glam metal really wouldn't have been what it is without this band. Not just that, this band gave guys like Blackie Lawless their start. He actually played with them for a little while, I think for about a year, before going on and starting another band with Nikki Sixx and giving Nikki Sixx his break, and then they went on obviously to form Wasp and Motley Crue, so and not just that. I mean, when you listen to a lot of heavy metal a lot of heavy metal bands, a lot of punk bands talking about their influences, New York Dolls pops up all the time. So just figured I'd throw that in there with this update here. I got this as part of a trade for a Psych album. I haven't popped it open yet, but I picked up a sealed copy of the second sighting from Freely's Comet. It is an album I'm familiar with. I've got this on CD, but I got this in another album that I'll show later as part of that deal. I thought it was a really good trade for the Osiris. Osiris is a Psych album. It was pretty good. It just wasn't something that I would have listened to more than 1 or 2 times. So I gave it a couple spins, I dug it, and decided to throw it up on the VC buy-sell page. And I traded it for that, and also for this. This is Apocryphon from The Sword. This is their most recent album. Really good album. Early on, they were pretty much considered a stoner rock sludge band, and they've really kind of refined their sound. It's gotten a lot better, and it's more a mix of just good heavy metal, but it's still got the elements of that stoner and doom sound. And I really, really dig this album. This one's on kind of a cool, I don't know if you can see that, kind of a really cool marbled vinyl. It's kind of hard to see in the light, but and then the album artwork is really cool on this one. You can kind of see the silver leafing that they did on the front and the back. And this is a band that, I heard them a couple years ago for the first time, but just wasn't feeling them. And over time, I've just, they've slowly kind of rubbed off on me, I guess, and now I kind of dig them. I've got, this is my second of their albums, and I'll eventually end up getting the first 2 as well. This next one, just working on the Kiss collection again. This is Crazy Nights. The sleeve is in pretty bad condition. However, the vinyl is a high VG plus to a near mint. This is, of course, Bruce Kulick and Eric Carr. and then probably one of the trashiest or one of the worst photos of a band member in history, Paul Stanley there. Pretty nasty there. This next one I've talked about before. I just recently got into this band. And it's not because I wasn't familiar with them. I had a roommate that this was in 92 or 93. No, it had to be later than that. It'd be about 95. I had a roommate who was a real big, this was by far his favorite artist. And he used to play the hell out of it, and it just drove me crazy vocally. This is Abigail from King Diamond. And I've talked about this before. In the 90s, I was just something about the high-pitched vocals of bands, or of artists, especially King Diamond, because he probably had the highest vocals of all. Getting operatic sometimes, you know. His vocals just drove me crazy, and after hearing the King Diamond stuff, I never really gave Merciful Fate a chance because I knew it was King Diamond. And in reality, I actually, now that I'm listening to Merciful Fate and King Diamond, I like the Merciful Fate stuff a little bit better. Mainly because he's not in that high range as much. He uses his normal singing voice, but then still hits those highs. I do like this album, though, and he is in his high register for this entire album. So it's not something I listen to over and over again, but I do like it musically. I really like it lyrically. It's some really cool story in the lyrics there. And this is the recent Metal Blade release, and this is on clear blue vinyl. And I was actually there, I went there to pick up Merciful Fate. The store posted that they had gotten copies of all the new Merciful, or the represses of Merciful Fate and King Diamond. And both the Merciful Fates that they had, all the sleeves were damaged, so I ended up going with Abigail. I'm glad I got it. It's something I would have gotten. I've listened to it a couple times. Like I said, I do dig it. But I prefer the Merciful Fate stuff. Next up is Tattoo Beat Messiah from Zodiac Mind Warp. This is their first album, and it's a promo copy. I remember the name from the late 80s. I think this was 88. Can't remember off the top of my head. May have been, yeah, 88. I remember the name, and so I figured I would check it out. I think I texted Scott about it, and he said it reminded him, the singer reminded him a lot of Rob Zombie, and I kind of get where he's coming from with that. It's okay. It's pretty good hard rock. If you want to hear 15 tracks about sex, all innuendo, all using stuff like talking about space, and all being a metaphor for, every single song is a metaphor for sex. So if that's what you're into, I mean, it was kind of an interesting listen. It's not something I'll throw on every day, but it's all right. It's all right. Next up, this was really good. Girls' School, Hit and Run Revisited. This is the they went back and re-released their second album, or re-recorded their second album. I'm kind of digging bands doing this. The first band I can think of that did this was Testament with First Strike Still Deadly, where they went back and re-recorded a bunch of their early songs, and I love that album. It's just a killer album from beginning to end, and it was all songs I loved anyway, from their first three. I think it was their first three albums that they were from. And they did a little different, whereas instead of just doing hits, they did a full album. And these ladies still kick ass, you know. Definitely worth checking out. There's also 2 additional songs. The bonus tracks are Demolition Boys, which is from their first album, and then also they recorded a second version of Hit and Run with Doro. So it's all right. It's an all-female band, so to throw in another female, it just sounds like them doing a second version of Hit and Run on the same album. Next up is Liege Lord, one of the first American power metal bands. This is Burn to My Touch. This was, I think, their first release on Metal Blade. I think they did one more release on Metal Blade after this. It's just good raw early power metal, you know. It's not as good as what would come out later on from the German power. I mean, the German power metal bands just that's where it was. But and these guys were more fantasy driven. So if you like fantasy driven heavy metal, power metal, definitely worth checking out. It's a good album. I'll listen to it. Cool album cover there, but pretty good album. This next one, not so much. It's okay. I don't know why I expected more from this album. I just thought this was going to be a really good. I don't know. I saw this. I looked it up and read some really killer reviews of it, and then heard it, and it's all right. It's the Take You Home EP from Mass. This was their, I believe, third EP before their first release. The singer is ridiculous. I don't know if he did. I don't even know if that's a singer, but whoever that is, right here, with those boots on. Everybody else is wearing, you know, your traditional trainers with the jeans, and he's got those stupid ass boots that drives me. I never got that, men wearing women's boots. But it's a Boston band. You would think it's a religious band from the title Mass and the cross. It's not. Again, most of the songs on here, a lot of songs about sex, and it's just okay heavy metal. I don't know if they got better later on when they started releasing when they did their first couple full releases, but I just wasn't feeling it. It's just, again, it was okay. This next album though kicked my ass. This album was awesome. This is Queen of Siam from Holy Moses. This is German thrash. This album is from '89. I believe this was I don't remember if this was their first or their second album, but it's thrash with a female singer, which you didn't see a lot of in the '80s. And man, she's amazing. Her vocals are, I think, the best part of this album. She's got a really weird range. There's one song where she sounds almost exactly like Lemmy from Motorhead, and then there's other songs where she sounds like a wicked witch a witch on fire. I mean, her vocals are killer. Musically pretty raw. I've heard that the band got better musically over time. It didn't bother me. I really dug it. I enjoyed this album. I listened to it twice back to back. If you haven't heard this, definitely worth checking out. Again, I heard their later albums, they got better. If they got better, cool. I'm definitely going to be looking for those albums. Just because, like I said, it's raw, but I love this album. Just really, really good. Really good thrash. Next up, these next two are new wave of traditional heavy metal. I really dug this album. This is Holy Grail, Crisis in Utopia. I picked this up for like $6, and I've listened to this 4 or 5 times already. This is just a really killer band. I've read different things about this. I've read that all of the members were early members of White Wizard, and then I've read that only a couple of them are, so I'm not 100% sure. But just a killer new wave of traditional heavy metal band. This should be in your collection if you like classic metal. And in the same vein with that, this is Speed Kills again. This is a sampler from Heavy Artillery Records. It's got, if you can see that, Toxic Holocaust and Enforcer are probably my 2 favorite bands off of this comp, but also Merciless Death, Avenger of Blood, Hatred, and Warbringer. Every song on here is really good. It's a gatefold. Lyrics in the gatefold for each band photos. And then it also comes with a 7-inch as well. This is another one. I picked it up sealed for, I think I paid $7 for this one. really good deal, really good comp, definitely worth picking up. And that's pretty much it, guys. That's what I got for this video. Let me know what you think. Drop your comments down below. If there's any recommendations based on what I just showed, definitely let me know. I'm always looking for something new to listen to. So other than that, again, have a great Halloween tonight and take care, VC.